in the trial papers. Okay. Over the 20 days of a conference, from a profit. Yep, that's allowed. That's part of financial maths. Okay. Over the 20 days of a conference, the profit at the cafeteria is found to drop by a constant amount from each day to the next, becoming a loss after a certain amount of time. On the second day, there was a profit of $700, and the sixth day, a loss of $500. So let's read it again, because sometimes with questions like this, there's a lot of things happening. Before you start reading just reread. Over the 20 days of a conference, the profit at the cafeteria is found to drop by a constant amount. So now I know it's an AP. So it's constant amount. You would assume that's a common difference. A common difference, meaning that it's an AP. Does that make sense? Becoming a loss after a certain amount of time. So it's obviously it starts at, let's say $1,000, and then eventually it's losing an amount until it's always at a loss. Find the profit on the first day. So in other words, find A, right, or T1, the first term, however you think about it, and the amount by which the profit dropped from each day to the next. So pretty much find A and find D. All right. You're not going to just be able to go find A and D like that. You've got to use this logic. So T2, the second term was 700, whereas the sixth term was not 500, negative 500. It's a loss of 500. Please be careful with that. You know that. Negative 500. You know that it's an AP formula, so the AP formula is, that's going to test my memory a little bit, n over 2, term, A plus n minus 1d. So Tn equals A plus n minus 1d, T2 equals A plus 2 minus 1d. Yes, Lisa?
Would we just assume that it's a common difference? Would we just assume AP?
No, you're not really assuming that. You know that it is. How do I know that it is? What was the... Yeah, the fact that it's constantly losing an amount. So I know that it's always by the same difference. When would it be a common ratio? When it's either losing an amount, not by a common amount, so not by like 5, you're losing an amount that is like a percentage of the previous amount. So like you might be losing 10% of the previous, that would be a common ratio now. Right? Because 10% is not always going to be the same. If it's $100, 10% of 100 is 10, but then 10% of 9 is 9, 10% of 8 is 8. So it's not actually going down by a constant amount. 10% would be a common ratio now. Makes sense, doesn't it? I guess when you're there, think of it logically for a second. Is there a constant amount each day? If I'm losing a constant amount, is that going to be an AP or a GP? Yeah, if it's a constant amount, like $100 amount every day, well, that's probably going to be an AP. If I'm losing 10% each day, that's probably going to be a GP now. No longer an AP, because 10% is a tenth of the previous day. 1/10 is a common ratio. So if you want to remember the formulas for APs and GPs, technically, your GP was T2 on T1. Let's say it was a division. Whereas your AP was the difference in your second term from your first term. I hope so. This particular formula is in this one here, these two? I don't think so. I think that's a definition of AP and GP.
Yeah, that's the sum.
The sum is and the term is, but I don't think the definition of the GP or AP, it might be. I don't know. Get familiar with it. If it is, great. You don't need to know it. But yeah, so plug it in. T2 is 700, and then I get A plus D. T6 is T6. A plus 6 minus 1, 5D. T6 is negative 500 equals A plus 5D. And then it's just a matter of simultaneous equations, right? Let's bring them underneath each other. At this point, does anyone have any questions? So now we found our common difference. We're losing $300. And just making sure the math makes sense. You're losing $300 every day. And obviously, what does A equal to? A would be 1,000. You can have subbed it back into here, or again, you can just think of it logically. If in the second day you've got a 700, that means in the first day it was 1,000. So, any questions at this stage? You missed a little bit, but it's not that bad to feed to, I'm sure. Find the loss on the 20th day. So find T20. T20 would be A plus N minus 1 times negative 300. Find the loss on the 20th day. Yeah. Whatever that gives you. Can you plug it into your calculator? Someone? Yeah.
What was it?
Just that 1,000 plus 19 times negative 300. Just so we can have an answer.
How much money is there?
Yep. Pretty bad business, this thing. They should have put a stop at it pretty much when they realize you're going to lose money. All right, negative 4,700. Find the total profit or loss over the 20 days of the conference. What are you finding? S20. And then the formula again is, you could use the long one, but I'm not going to because I already have my last term. I'm going to use this one. N over 2, A plus L. The first term plus the last term. So N is 20, 20 over 2, A is 1,000 plus negative 4,700. Or you could have used the long formula. That gives you negative 37,000. Nice. Negative 37. Okay, because the day before would have been 4,4, the day before was 4,1. Fair enough. Okay. All good? Any questions? Another one. These are question 8, so these are not the hardest ones just yet. Right? These are question 8. So like this is high band 5. That's it. These are high band 5s. So which is high 80s. Yep, that's fair game. Boom. I'll let you guys read it. Maybe attempt what you want. I'll give you guys 2 minutes. You guys want tea or coffee? More vodka, just before your exams, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, it's an annoying one.
I think I like your first paper.
Everybody, every year, first paper. Yeah, really?
There's like a stimulus process, like how this talks about motivation or something. We never talked about motivation. Past the shadow.
Well, what you don't understand with because in your exam, in your HSC, you might get something else, right?
Yeah.
What you gotta understand is, when you're saying, what did you say, wisdom?
No, motivation.
Motivation. Um, but your interpretation of motivation and her interpretation could be all different.
The question is to,
Yeah,
that's why
Yeah.
because it's like,
You can relate it to anything is what I'm trying to say. It should be like that, just so you're aware of it. The same thing with your module C, I think your creative writing or your discursive part. Did you get stimulus for that? Same thing, like that should be, like, regardless, you should technically be able to walk in and have something prepared and be able to spit it out without you thinking, well, my thing doesn't fit in, but it does. Because regardless of what they give, your interpretation will be different to their interpretation, and that's how English works compared to math. Math, you don't have that freedom. It's either black or white. English is very grey. You can, as one of a, I've got a really top student in English. She's top 10 in Australia, actually, not in New South Wales. Yeah, she's been really good from like 4 years old. Anyways, she pretty much says English is BS. As long as you BS really well, and that's good. That's how English is. Hopefully, when you get your results back, you'll be able to modify the parts that you didn't do well, and that's part of it. Same with me. When I got my trials back, I realised that okay, module A, no good. Maybe my creative writing wasn't good. Whatever, I fix that up for the HSC, and then you should be fine. So, whatever stimulus they give you, I just wanted to make that point. Whatever stimulus, you shouldn't really be afraid. I had an exam. It was the HSC, but I think they said to do one related text, whereas every other year it was always 2 or 3. So I had memorized probably 3 related texts. So my essay wasn't enough for one related text, right? Because I had a little bit about the other related text. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, no, I didn't stick to it with it. What I did is the other 2 related texts, all I had changed, I decided, I just changed the name. But the quotes and everything was there. The one I did it for, I didn't do it for the poetry one, because if I had done, because I had a related text as a poetry, I think there was a speech in a movie. I was like, look, the poetry is probably very famous, they would know it straight away, like, you know, this quote doesn't make sense. But the film, I'm not as if they're going to go and watch this whole film just for me. Poor little Sam, they're not going to do that. So I used all the poetry quotes and techniques and everything in the film, as well as the speech in the film. So you got to be ready for things like that. I'm trying to say, like, they won't pick up on it as much as you think they would. I did it, they didn't pick up on it. I had memorized my creative writing, went in, it was a picture of, I think, a ladder or something. And it had nothing to do with the ladder. I was talking about church and grandmother and granddaughter, and it had nothing to do with the ladder. But I used the ladder as like imagery or in a symbolic way of representing the steps that maybe the grandmother and granddaughter go through in their life. Had nothing to do with it, but I just spit it out for marks. So you got to understand your interpretation will be different to hers, will be different, and that's part of the game. English is allowed. So. Different text. I think for your modules you would. For paper 1 you don't. Or other way around. Paper 1 should be the same, am I wrong? Maybe other way around. I don't know. I haven't. You didn't? No. Yeah, module C would be a bit different. Yeah. The second paper is different. Paper 1 should all be the same. Because it's common module, correct. Okay, sketch the curves. Y equals sine x, y equals cos x on the same set of axes. I. Obviously, sine x does not look like this because it's a cos curve. And then sine x looks like this. For 2 pi, the question says draw it up to pi, which is right there. So there's -1, there's 1. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. David's in, by the way. You probably want to see David. So yeah, you might have just heard it. Double A.
I don't see nothing else.
Yeah. Use your graph to show the equation sine x equals cos x has only one solution in this domain. I think one solution. Yeah, that was easy. And triple I. Show that at the point of intersection of the curves, the product of the gradient of the tangent to the two curves is negative half. Okay, go. What are you going to do? It says it has a solution at x equals pi on 4. Sub it. Remember what you're trying to do. The product of the gradient of the tangent to the two curves. Say it again. What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
You didn't say it? Oh, it sounded like it.
So differentiate.
Yeah. What do you mean I didn't say nothing? I didn't say nothing. All right, differentiate. Why? Because it's saying,
Great.
and the second word that gives it away, tangents. Gradients and tangents. Tells me differentiate. So if I've got y equals sine x, well now it's easy once you realize that. Y equals sine x, y dash equals cos x. Obviously, y equals cos x, y dash equals negative sine x. Now you would sub it in, so let's call it m1 cos pi on 4, m2 cos, negative sine pi on 4. This should give you 1 on root 2. This should give you negative 1 on root 2. And then what did you want to prove? The product of the gradients. So m1 times m2 equals negative 1 over 2. Simple? Maybe that's what you're saying. The questions look hard and they're easy and vice versa. So I think the quote I like to say is, don't change your math. Don't ever change. That means when you walk in, if you read something, the first thing that comes to your mind, you're probably right, just do it. It's when you decide to go into your exam and change your math, you'll start looking at this going, what do I do? I've never seen this question before. But if you see that word, you see gradients, you're like, differentiate, let me just do it. It will work out. If you see maximum, you're thinking of differentiation, y dash equals 0, then you're going to do nature. Just do it. So you'll be very surprised. Like a lot of the things, the answers are there. Just do what you would usually do. Don't overthink it. And it will work out. All right. I guess this one. Question? Yeah, we are going to. I'm sure they're coming up. They have to be in question 8 and 9. I will be very surprised if we don't see some loan repayments and some max min problems. So they should come. All right. Again, I'll leave it with you for a minute or two. The graph of f of x is drawn below. I think that's number 1. What is a derivative? When is the derivative? Sorry, less than 0, equal to 0, and draw a sketch of the derivative curve. I'll give you a clue for those who are doing my way for possible sketch of this curve. That is going to become our ISP eventually. Intercepts, stat points, points of inflections. If you do it that way. Intercepts, stat points, points of inflections, keep graphing going up. If you do it that way. If not, you wait for it. The way meant to do this for that second part.
Oh, the second part.
The second part. The other big folks, the statement classic.
English.
I love it. All right. Don't worry. Like I said, the whole state feels the same. So don't worry. That's why they call it trial. All right. When is the derivative of f of x less than 0? When is y dash less than 0? Of course, when the gradient is negative. So that means from? How would you write it? Tell me.
I thought we write at the beginning. Like it's like bracket and like
Okay.
gradient, one bracket and mean.
Yeah.
And
You could write it like that if you're comfortable with. You're not comfortable with this way? -3 less than x? Not really? Same as you? Not really? Okay. -3, open bracket, -3 because not inclusive, comma, all the way to 1. Close bracket, again not including, positive, 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 with open bracket 6 to 9. And then where does it equal to 0? That's easy. -3, whoops. Maybe they're teaching x is an element of? Yeah. X equals -3, 1, 6, and 9. -3, 1, 6, 9. And then draw a possible sketch between x is 1 and x is 9. All right, here we go. Wait, any questions? Erin, any questions so far?
No.
ISP, for those who built this way, great. If you've got your own method, great as well. This just means if we're going up, we are differentiating, going down, we are integrating for graphs. So points of inflections become stat points become intercepts if we're differentiating graphs. So in other words, if I can do it on the same line, it's just a bit easier to see everything. Points of inflection, so this point of inflection, somewhere here, let's just say, becomes a stationary. Now I'm not sure if it's like that or like this, so we'll just draw it there. There's another point of inflection there. Again, I'm not sure if it's going to be sad or happy, so we'll just draw that. Stat points, I know stat points definitely become intercepts, so the good thing about that is that's there. Stationary, that's there. Stationary, that is there. Yep. And then pretty much the way it works is if this is below the, so on the left hand side, technically this bit here would be below the x-axis, so you're going to start up above the x-axis, so it's going to look like this. Another way some students see it, which is fine if you're confused about where to start, like if you get either to start up or start below, these are positive gradients. Positive gradients means above the y-axis, above the x-axis. Negative gradients, below the x-axis. So I think that's how your teachers usually teach it. I just don't like it because it doesn't work very well for integration and stuff. So that is what it is. Done? Any questions? Move on. Let me know if I'm going too fast. That one's fair game, so let's do that. And let's do that. You guys don't do Simpsons, you guys do trapezoidal. So that's how you're going to do it. It's a very easy way to change it. So this one's going to be called trap, and then again, try it out. Show that that is a tangent to that parabola. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Just make sure that that's allowed in your exam. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Because I know what part of the topic it's from. It's from the old syllabus, but that can be allowed still. That's fine. Just making sure. Yeah, and then we got told off. Good morning, everyone. I would like to remind everyone about adhering to security periods for commercial purchase exams, including the trial HSC. As part of the purchase agreement for those exam scores that have been agreed to not publish or talk about these exams, doing so breaches valid. Very nice. We should be fine. We don't really care about these people. It's a typical C-level state exam. That's all I can tell you guys. Typical meaning, yes, it's going to be hard. That's it. You can get above. If you can get above 65, you're looking at a band 6 in the HSC. The HSC is a lot easier. So, just so you know, band 6 in HSC means 85. So you get an 85 in HSC. So that's what I'm trying to say. You get a 65, you're pretty good. It means you've got 85% of it done. You do better. Hey, maybe 92, 93, 94, 95. It's all up to you now. AI. Could we get it out? All right, let me think about this. I should talk about something. You guys couldn't do I. Did you guys even try double I? Yeah, I'm worried about that. I'm worried that you're not used to that yet. You got to learn to scab marks. If you get your exam back, yeah, seriously, if you get your exam back and I see that you've got a lot of marks, I won't be happy. Because that means that's a difference of you getting 50% compared to 70%. That's the difference of getting 30% to 50%. So be careful. You don't want to just feel like I can't do I, so therefore I'm not going to do double A. The reason why that is a show and not a find is so that at least you have the tangent, you can at least continue and do two values of m. You can just sub in x is 2, y is -4, and you're solving a quadratic equation. So the next bit should have been the easiest 2 marks. Please. In fact, if it was a fine question, not for this one here, for something else, if there was a fine question and you absolutely couldn't find something, I'll show you one eventually, make up an equation, you'll get it wrong. But the next bit and the bit after, it's correct from previous error, so you can still get full marks for the rest if you know what you're doing. Do we understand? So if it's a fine question, let's say if it's a max-min, usually they show. If for any reason it was a find, you couldn't, just make up an equation, just write y equals mx plus b. Then use that result, you can still get full marks for the rest. You guys are still not used to that, I know. Because all you've been taught up to where you're up to is follow the question, get it right all the way out, get it right all the way out. But you got to understand in an exam, it's not like that anymore. You're trying to scab marks, you're trying to maximize your results right now. So, please, for the next few, try to do that. Let's see if I can do I. Show that y equals, Erin, were you able to get it out?
No.
No? This is what I'm thinking. The first thing I'm thinking about is to show this is tangential. Well, that means the derivative of this must be the same as the derivative of this. Something like that. That's the first thing I think of. It could be wrong, but that's what I'm going to try. If it's wrong, so be it. So y equals x squared on 8. Y dash equals 2x on 8. Which is x on 4. For that to be the same, so that's y dash. That means the gradient of this right now is, x on 4. Right? For this to be the same as the gradient of this, it must equal to m. Right? So in other words, your x value must equal to 4m for that to occur. For that to occur, if x is 4m, if I sub it back into the original here, x squared, because that means it's got to lie on the parabola, right? Because if it's tangential, it's got to be on the parabola in the first place, your x's and y's. Sub it in, I get 4m squared equals 8y. That's 16m squared on 8 equals y, or in other words, 2m squared. We're still with me at this stage? So now I've worked out, for it to be tangential, it has to be y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Still with me at this stage? Fingers crossed we get y equals mx minus 2m squared. Y minus 2m squared equals, I haven't done anything fancy. And then plus 2m squared. It worked out. Like I said, I haven't done any fancy. It's everything you know to do, but you didn't do. But you know you should be doing that anyways, and that's what I mean by don't change your math. Like, you know, usually you've done derivatives, it's got to equal to the gradient, and then usually you're meant to have a point. Where's your point? You don't have a point, so then you have to get your point. How do I get the point? Well, once you find your first x, sub it in, you get your y, you get your point, and then do y minus y1. Don't change your math. If you really understand that, you will maybe start doing questions like this. Just don't change. Whatever you've usually done, do it. It will work. I promise. Any questions? And obviously double I. Aaron, that all makes sense as well?
Yep.
Double I, find the two values of m for which the tangent passes through. Yeah, like I said, there's no reason why anyone should get that wrong. Something negative 4. X is 2, so 2m minus 2m squared. Bring everything to one side. 2m squared minus 2m minus 4, 2m squared minus 1 minus 4, equals 0, and then just finish it off. You could divide by 2, m minus 2, m plus 1, m equals 2, and negative 1. I will just pause for a second, double check it all. Oh yeah, find the two values of m. I'm pretty happy. I don't even need to double check it. We already know it's right. Again, exam, if you do see this particular S, which means plural, it usually gives you an answer that it's actually meant to be 2. It's a clue. There's meant to be 2 solutions. Okay. You guys haven't started trap rule right yet? All right. I might just, so because I won't have room here anyways, just copy that and we'll take it down. Okay. Let's try the trap rule. Do we know the trap rule? H over 2, first plus last, 2 times the rest. H over 2, first plus last plus 2 times rest.
Finesse. No one's.
What are we feeling? Talk to me.
I'm just going to draw it for these.
Draw it. Oh, you don't need to.
No, just because
Draw your table, yeah?
Yeah.
But you don't need to draw the actual function.
I don't want to draw the actual
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. You got your x, you got your y, you got your, how many 5 function values? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 y values. Starts at 0, ends at 4. What should your width be? What is your h equal to? B minus a on n. Where n is your sub-intervals. Sub-intervals being 1 less than the function values. So 4 take away 0 on 4, which is 1. Now it's just a matter of subbing it in to get your y values for each one. Once you've got that, you've got to sub it into the formula, and then you got yourself 3 marks. So it's just a bit of, it's a bit fiddly. But otherwise, it's not that difficult of a question. The only thing I would say watch out for is if you had a trap rule for sine, cos or tan, or any trig, you must use radians, not degrees. So you can't sub in 1, 2 and 3 into your calculator directly, so be careful. But if it was an exponential or log, happy days, do it as normal. So radians for trig. Okay. Give me some numbers once you guys have done it. I think the first one I can see is a 3. That's all you can get out of it right now. What's our answers for 1? Steph, got it out?
No,
2.9,
2.59,
2.59,
1.99,
1.98,
and
0. 4 squared, 36. Yeah, looks good. 144, 0. Cool. And then literally first, last, this is your rest. And then h is 1. So the answer is h, 1 over 2, 3 plus 0 plus 2 times 2.9 plus 2.59 plus 1.98. Again, easy. Would you have got 3 marks? I guess the hardest bit of that is just the n, knowing the subintervals. If you're already used to that, then it should be easy. And drawing the table. You can't do anything much without drawing the table. Let's see if that's relevant for you guys. The formula. Okay, fair enough. What was the final answer of this? 8.97. The formula a equals pi ab on 4, where a is 4 and b is 3, gives the exact value of the integral above. Okay, cool. So that means the actual exact value is pi, a is 4, b is 3, on 4, which is actually 3 pi. What's the answer to 3 pi? 9.42. And then the question says, comment on the accuracy of your answer from I compared to the exact answer. The exact answer is something like this. And you got 8.97. So what are you going to say? Yeah, and that's the word I would like to see. You're close, but you've underestimated it. And that's the idea of trapezoidal, isn't it, right? If you guys understand, I'll draw you a quick graph if you want to remember it. It looks something like this. Let's just say this is like a log. It is a log, but it comes from the log family. And then what you're doing, if I zoom in, drawing little trapeziums. And the idea is you want the width to be obviously always the same and as small as possible, but you'll always have this little bit missing. So you are underestimating, that's the idea of trapezoidal. Good, good work. Easy question, nothing too crazy again. I would like to do these, but keep an eye on time. What time do we finish? An hour. Okay. Maybe that one. There. All right, 5 marks. Let's try this one. And then if we've got time, we'll come back and do more, because I want to do at least this and a maximum problem. All right. let's go again. Selection, depend. All right, have a read. Jot down everything you need to jot down, and then I'll get started. Steve borrows 15K for a new car. Okay. Alex, any ideas? Still working on it? Or do you feel like you know what to do? Okay. Steve borrows 15 for a new car. He decides to repay the loan plus interest at 6%. He repays the loan in monthly installments of P. Show that after 3 months, the amount that Steve owes is, okay, which is standard, right? You go to A1, A2, A3, sometimes they say AN, but it's pretty much standard. All right, A1. Tell me. 15,000 bracket. Sorry? 1 plus percent. 0.5%, yeah? Be careful. Minus P. We all agree with that? Okay, A2. A2 becomes, oops, becomes A1, and then 1 point. A1, 15, 1.005 squared minus P, 1.005 minus P. A3 should be A2, 1.005 minus P. A2 is 15, 0.005 cubed minus P, 1.005 squared minus P, 1.005 minus P. But I did tell you guys I don't really want you to get used to decreasing, always increasing. So, and I haven't even looked at what we're trying to show yet. Next, minus P, 1.005 minus P, 1.005 squared. Now I look, and I think I get what's happened. They've factorized the P out. They've used the formula for the inside, and they've simplified this one. So, I'm right. This answer to this should be 15,226.13, and then factorize my P, 1 plus 1.005 plus 1.005 squared. Steph, what do you reckon so far? Happy with this? Equals? Yeah. 113 minus P. A, R, N minus 1 over R minus 1. All good? 15,226.13 minus P, 3.015025. That's it. Any questions? After 2 years of repaying his loan, after 2 years, Steve still owes 10,000 on the loan. What was the monthly repayment? Okay, so hold on. So what do we have firstly? We have A what? what do we have? If it's after 2 years, A24. So that's the first thing we've got to realize. So we want A24. So don't be fooled, don't use any of these lines. We're trying to use just back up here. So it's going to be 15,000, 1.005 to the power of 24 minus, and then P bracket 1 plus 1.005 plus dot 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 plus 1.005 to the power of 1 less than 24, which is 23. A R minus 1 over R minus 1, and then this is still whatever that number is. All right, what does A24 equal to? Say again?
Yeah.
Nope. We're used to that, but what does the question say? Yeah, so it was 10,000. Usually it's 0, isn't it? So it says 10,000, so you just make it equal to 10,000 this time. And then of course, I'm sure we should be able to know how to solve for P here. You're going to subtract this, divide this. Sorry, divide this. We agree with that? 10,000, subtract 15, 1 point whatever, divide by this. So I guess all of you guys just try to do it on your calculator. Let's make sure we all get the same answer. When you're ready, plug it in, subtract, divide. Let me know if, no. That was worth how many marks? 3 marks? You did like all the work. Yeah, tell me.
What's the difference between the part 1 and how it goes from 1.005 on to 1?
Oh, no, it's the same.
Oh, it's the same.
What's 1 take away 1?
Oh, yeah.
So I just ignored it,
Yeah.
because I know I don't need to have it. No, no, same. Same. Anyone got an answer yet? Yes?
About
$271.60. We'll wait and see. Agree? Agree? You? No?
No.
Wait and
We're
see.
just dividing everything across, right?
No, we're subtracting this first, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a number.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
Subtract, and then divide this. Move on. Erin, all good?
Yeah.
Alright. Like I said, I'll come back to some more of those. Let's have a look at some of these question 9s and 10s. I'll come back to that. Oh yeah, look at that, loan repayment. But still, let's try to find your maximum. There it is. It's not that bad, that one. Actually. You guys looking at me. It's bad. Do you understand the general idea of it? Yeah, then you'll be fine. you understand the general idea before? Okay, good. Let's do it. The diagram below represents a conical water container. The sum of its base diameter and its height is 60 meters. Hold on, start again. That's super important. The sum of its base diameter and its height is 60. That means, let's call it D. Let's call it D plus H equals 60. Or in other words, if I'm just looking out down here somewhere, I see they've used what letter? So I'll straight away go, wait, 2R plus H equals 60. Right? Good. Then I'll just leave that. I don't use it right now. And then I read the question. Write an expression for the height in terms of the radius. Sweet, I've already answered that. Without even reading it. That's just how I do questions. I always try to not read and first ask myself from what they've given, what would I usually do? And from that, I would usually write this. Kind of look down here, I can see R's, and I straight away think diameter equals 2 radius. Find height in terms of radius, so height equals 60, take away 2R. 1 mark. I think this was 3 or 2, whatever. Show that the volume is given by this. Okay, you obviously need to know the volume of a cone. Is that giving you a formula sheet? Nope. So, what's the volume of a cone then? Say it again. I'll tell you which one you're saying. 4 pi r squared, 4 on 3 pi r cubed. That's a sphere. Yeah, that's a volume of a sphere. 4 on 3 pi r cubed. Differentiate that. What's the derivative of 4 on 3 pi r cubed? Yeah, volume of a sphere equals 4 on 3 pi r cubed. Volume cubed. Maybe that's how you can think of it if you know your 4 on 3. What is the 4 pi r squared? That is the surface area. One derivative less, one power less. You guys never thought of it like that, but that's how it works. So your surface area, which is the derivative, differentiate dV on dr equals surface area, which equals to 4 pi r squared of a sphere. You get the idea. Cool. Anything that hits in an apex is 1 on 3. So if it's like this, it's always going to be 1 on 3 for volume. And then, what's your base area? So what is it? Pi r squared times by height. That's it. That's the definition of volume. The definition of volume is it's any base area times by h. The only thing you have to remember, if it's an apex, it's 1/3. Easy? Alright, let's do it. So which equals to 1 on 3 pi r squared times 60, take away 2r, and I'm sure we can all see the answer. So at this stage, I'm not even going to tell you to expand. You just write the answer down. I'm sure you can see it is expanded. Agree? No? Yep. Done. Triple I. Again, you couldn't do I, fine, you lose 1 mark. You couldn't do double I, fine, you lose 2 marks. There's no reason why you should have lost 5 marks in this question. Because find the radius which makes the volume maximum, you know what you've got to do. You know what you've got to do. You've got to differentiate, make it equal to 0, find the nature, and then hopefully you get your 3 marks. You know that's not going to change, that's a fact. So 3 out of 5, I'll say, hey, that's good. You know, it's not bad. 0 out of 5, it's bad. You don't want to go for that. So scab marks. Like, you've got to just go into that mentality. You've got to maximize your results. Okay, here we go. dV on dr. 40 pi r minus 3 and 3 should cancel, so 2 pi r squared equals 0. What would you do at this stage if you're trying to solve for r?
Oh,
Say it. Say it. Say it. Factorize r. 40 pi, take away 2 pi r equals 0. R equals 0, which we don't think will be maximum, but we'll test it anyways. What can you do? You don't want to do what I just said, right? You don't want to assume something because I could be wrong. But I'm just going to take a very educated guess and assume that's wrong. Next one, 40 pi equals 2 pi r. That and that cancels. R equals 20. Let's assume that's a maximum. At that point, let's see. D squared V on dr squared equals 40 pi minus 4 pi r. So your second derivative equals 40 pi minus 80 pi, which equals negative 40 pi less than 0 max. Reread the question, so stop, reread. It says find the radius which makes a volume. Therefore, radius at max volume equals 20. Because sometimes they say find the maximum volume. So you have to say therefore max volume is, which means you will sub in your radius. Like I said, Steph, easy. Really, you guys cannot come back and say I lost those. You can say I lost I and double I, I'll accept that. But the triple I don't understand why you would not get those marks. You're just differentiating. At least just for differentiating, you can get a mark. Cool. And I won't accept I ran out of time either. You know this will be at the end of the exam, so if the answer is going to be there, just go at least do that before doing some of the easier stuff you might get stuck with. Let's say the trig graphs, you might have forgotten how to do that for whatever. Don't spend too much time on that, because that's something that you've got to recall. If you're stuck, move on, come to something like this where you know what you've got to do. Your nerves will just go down a little bit, then go back, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm back with my trig. You'll be surprised. It happened. It happened to me. It'll happen to you. Just go move forward. You know this will be there. Loan repayment, you might be able to do A1. Go there. Continue. And we'll talk in question 9. Find the coordinates of the points of stationary points. Determine their nature. Point of inflection. Easy. 8 marks. Will be in your exam. I'm not going to do it because that shouldn't be too problematic. Max min again. As soon as you see a diagram like that, you just know it's max min. Come on. Look at it. It's a max min. Let's go again. And you can see fairly similar again. Look at it. There's I, there's double I, and that big word is max. Maximum. Or minimum, depending. Lisa has designed a garden bed which consists of a rectangle and a semicircle as shown in the diagram. If the perimeter of the garden bed is to be 20 meters, find an expression for h in terms of r. Okay, so what are we going to do? So that's h. This is h. This is 2r, because this is r. Good job. That's your radius. And then, of course, what's this bit? So what's the answer going to be? What am I going to write? Because you need that for your perimeter, right? What do you reckon, Ella? That bit of a circle. Don't overthink it. Yep, so tell me your formula. Two pi r, circumference equals 2 pi r. But then of course it's a semicircle, so we'll divide it by 2. So the circumference formula is just pi r for this question. Yep. So therefore your perimeter is pi r plus h plus h plus 2r, but you know the p is equal to 20, and it says find an expression for h in terms of r. I think we know what we're going to do at this stage. We're going to subtract the r's. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Done. Remember, you are in question 9s and question 10s, so you've got to think a little bit more. But I don't see why you couldn't have done that. Again, see how I tackled it? I did it one bit at a time. I did H, 2R, and then I went like the nail time for my circumference. Show the area of the garden bed can be given by this. Double I. Alright, what's the area for this? What are we going to write? So tell me, area equals 2R times H times what? Yeah, 2R, there it is, 2R times H plus semicircle, so pi r squared on 2. Pi r squared on 2. Yep, I'm happy with that. 2 pi r, sorry, 2rh, because that's the rectangle, plus pi r squared on 2. H, you already know what the answer is, right there, what you just worked out. Again, if you couldn't do that, you'd lose yourself 2 marks. If you couldn't do I, because then you won't be able to do double. 2rh plus pi r squared on 2. And if we have done it right by any stroke of luck, that should give me negative pi r squared minus 2r squared plus pi r squared on 2. And I'm looking at this, I've got my 20r, I've got my negative 2r squared. The only thing I don't have is this negative half pi r squared, but it is there. Negative 1 pi r squared plus half pi r squared is negative half pi r squared. So be careful with that. You actually do have it. Voila. Okay, triple I might leave that with you guys just now. Try to see if you can get 3 marks. Find the value of R that gives the maximum area and hence give this area as well. So you see how that one, you have to actually find the area as well. And then obviously maximum. So find R, show that it's a maximum, and find the area. Excuse me. Sorry. Triple I, find the value of R that gives the maximum area. Got it out? Did you find R? L? Not yet? Or not yet? Okay. A little bit more time. Let's see. D, A on D, R. I'll wait. A little bit more. Obviously equals to 0. dA on dr equals 0. Derivative, stat point. All right, what do we have? We should have 20 minus 4r minus pi r equals 0. Factorize your r, bring your 20 over, or do it the other way around. And bring these two over, bring your r's to one side. Factorize, and then just divide. So r equals 20 on 4 plus pi. Second derivative is negative 4 negative pi, negative 4 negative pi, which is less than 0, which is a max. And then obviously the last bit is area equals, they say find exact area, and let's give this area to the nearest meters read. So you're just going to find area by substituting it back in. Sub back. I'm sure we can all do that. That wasn't too bad. Where did you get stuck, El? The factorizing bit? Yeah, that's okay. Easy. Yeah, if you got two letters, just factorize them. That's it, simple. The best way out. All right, all good. Any questions? Let's try, see if there's another one. I want to do these. Maybe we should do one of those right now. What? Underlying graph represents a solution to an inequality of this type. Find the values of A and B. Changed around. Instead of saying solve, they're saying here it is. You guys tell us what it was. I like it, but I'll come back to it again. Find the value of theta. Easy. Like I said, I want to do those ones. Yeah, that's top standard. Here it is. Find the radius. Minimum. Let's find anything harder. Yes. Finally, for question 10. Yes. Good. That's a max min. And that's another max min. That's a good, okay, we're going to do this one. We've got to do this one. Okay. Have a read. Hardest one you will see. So this is, yeah. Otherwise, the other ones are all pretty stock standard. Once you know the shape formulas, they're pretty easy. Speed, velocity, and distance ones like these, a little bit tricky because you've got to really know your rates. Have a read while I also think about it at the same time. Be careful. That's a very good point that a lot of students miss. Because they get two sales and then just continue, and then they get to all this beautiful math, and then they forget you got to times it by 2 because there's 2 of them. So just circle, highlight it, you would miss it. All right, anyways, let's continue. 2 sailors are playing. Okay, a lot of everything happening. Show that to bring the launch back from getting the total cost to the owners is this. But I'm going to still think about it as well, so just give me 2 seconds. You guys think about it as well, what you would do, and I'll work out. Okay, I think I got what I would do. Let's make sure, do we understand these 4 sentences really well? No, seriously, yes or no? What do you get about it? You said, yeah, what do you get about it? You can repeat it, it's up to you, it's just what do you get, I just want to say. So what's happening? There's these 2 people. Yeah, bring a motor launch back, whatever that is. Cool. They've got to travel 1,200 kilometers. Yep. For each hour, they get paid $25 per hour. Yep.
And it shows us like the fuel, how much they use, how much it's going to cost them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. How much they use, which is 1,200 kilometers worth, is how much it's going to cost them. I think that's right. And it uses the fuel at this rate, liters per hour. Cool. So you kind of get the idea, which I like. Now we've got to somehow put this into this function and work out how this all works. So let's work out how much the guys cost first. I think that's our first starting point. Is that fair? So we're going to say, okay, cost for the sailors. So C, which equals CS sailors plus CL, the launch, whatever that is. Why can't they just use engine? 2 sailors are paid to bring back a motor engine or something. There's just so much motor car, like whatever. A launch. What's a launch? Doesn't matter. Does anyone know what a launch is in this context? Yeah, no. Alright. Alright, sailors. Sailors are paid $25 per hour, so that is $50 per hour for both of them. $50 per hour for both. Oops. Per hour, okay, for both. For the time spent at sea. Cool. Per hour. That's it. That's all we have for now. Any questions? Then we've got cost of this launch. We know that they've got to travel 1,200 kilometers, and diesel costs. They use diesel at a rate of 20 plus v squared on 10 liters per hour, and it costs $1.25 per liter. So the cost of that per hour is 20 plus v squared on 10 times 1.25. Does that make sense? Reread it again if not. The cost per hour for the launch is 20 plus V squared on 10 liters per hour, and it costs $1.25 per liter. So in total, it's going to be 20 plus V squared on 10 times $1.25 per hour. Yeah, that's right. Because this is how many liters they're using. This is how much it costs per liter. Yes? What do you reckon? Yeah. You agree? 100%? Okay. Tricky, like I told you. Next line. What's 20 times 1.25? What's 20 times 1.25? That should be 25. Double check it. Plus. Can you do 1.25 divided by 10? Should be again. Can you give me as a fraction? 1 on 8. So V squared on 8 per hour. Now, what we've got to work out is how many hours are we actually going for? The way you're going to work out your hours is using this formula. Speed equals distance over time. Your time is 1200 kilometers, which is your distance, over V. Why? Because V is your speed that you're going at. Per hour. You're going at 1200 over V per hour. Does that make sense? That's every hour you're going at, like, oh well, that is the time. I'm just, it is per hour. Like it might be 5 hours. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. No, I didn't mean right. Like, I meant like that's your total time. Sorry, forget that. Yes. Very important you understand you needed to find T. That's what everybody misses. A lot of students get these two out. What they miss is the idea is you have this per hour. Well, how many hours is this whole trip? And then no one puts 2 and 2 together. If you've got hours, you've got distance, you've got time, V is your speed, so you can actually use this particular formula. That's the trick to this. If I haven't done it wrong, it should all work out. We'll find out right now. So, 50. So, total cost would be 50 times 1200 on V plus 25 plus V squared on 8, 25 plus V squared on 8 times 1200 on V. Well, I should have added them up already, but whatever. Again. Okay? We're still okay at this stage? L, seriously, say no. No. Yeah, all right. Let's see where I lost you. Do you understand firstly how to find these two costs? So the cost for the sailors, $50 per hour, and what about the cost of this thing per hour? Does that make sense? Then, this is per hour. Well, how many hours are we going for? We're going for 1200 on V hours. Do you agree with the 1200 on V? V is speed, and then 1200 is distance. And then I found time. Because time would be, if I told you you've got something to go which is 100 kilometers away. And I said your speed is 50 kilometers per hour. You know you would have found obviously time as 100 on 50, which is 2 hours. Now imagine you didn't know V is 50, you just knew V is V. And you knew your distance is 1200. That means from the same logic, your time is 1200 over V, where V could be any speed that you're going for. And T would give you the total time that it took to get there. Or in this case, we did 2 hours. In this case, it's 1200 on V. So you don't know what the total time is. The reason why you don't know the total time, you don't know the speed. But it's trying to say you can find an equation regardless of the speed. So then you can just plug in any V in here, it will give you the total cost. So if I say, hey, you guys can travel at 100 kilometers an hour, then it would tell me the cost of, to me as an owner. If I said, hey, you guys travel 50 kilometers an hour, I can work out the total cost as an owner, and so on. So it's a dynamic formula. Very powerful if you can apply this into business. For those who actually understand this, it makes their business run more efficiently. But anyways, we're not going to get into that right now. You get the idea. Time is 1200 on V. Usually you've got time as 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. It's not like that because you don't know the speed. That's all. Then once you know the time, which is 1200 on V, we're going times 1200 on V. So 50 times per hour, but how many hours did you do? You did 1200 on V hours. And same thing with this. That's 25 plus V squared on 8 times 1200 on V hours. So that gives you the total cost. And if by any stroke of luck, it should give us 90,000 on V plus 150 V. So let's see. 50 times 12,000 is 1200 is 60,000. I did tell you this is the hardest one. I won't lie to you. Plus, this one here should give me, I'm just going to assume it's 30,000 on V plus, and then I'm going to assume these two will cancel out to give me 150. V and V squared, you guys can probably see them two would cancel out. V. So all I've done here is expand a bracket. And you're done. I will do it again. I think it's really important that you guys know how to do this one. So I'll do it again now that you've kind of seen it. But I want to make another point. See, 3 out of 6, I'm okay with it for question 10. So for the hardest question in the paper, for you guys to say I go 3 out of 6, I'm okay with that. Getting a 0 out of 6, I won't be. So please, we're going to understand. We're going to get these last marks. Find the speed which is minimum and determine its cost. Let's do that right now, and then we'll come back and do I again. Double I. DC on DV. Okay, how are we going to differentiate 90,000 on V? Yeah, right? You can't have it like that. Has to be V negative 1 plus 150 V. All right, let's go. Negative 90,000. V negative 2 plus 150 equals 0. Negative 90,000 on V squared plus 150 equals 0. Bring the 150 over. What would you do at this stage? Probably multiply this, divide this back. What's negative 90,000 on 150? $9,000 over 15, in other words. 600. So V is, obviously you can't choose the negative velocity. You're going to choose the positive velocity. So square root of 600, which is what? About, very slow, 24 point. That's cool. Kilometers per hour. We're going to show that it's a minimum. So you're not done. Be careful. D squared C on dV squared. Differentiate this again, so it becomes positive 180 V negative 3, and that's it. Sub in a positive number, that's going to give you greater than 0. Go back up, just pause. Find the speed, which minimizes the cost. I found the speed, and determine this cost. Therefore, cost equals, what was it? 90,000 on V plus 150V. Come on, you guys got to be serious about it. The same 3 marks, right? 3 marks and 3 marks. But these 3 marks were so much easier than the first 3 marks. So maybe, this is what I've always told my Year 12s, maybe your strategy just knowing this is, let me at least secure my 3 marks, my second 3 marks, then I come back up and work on my first 3 marks. Don't do your first 3 marks unless you're super confident. Don't do your first ones. Ignore the first, come and do double I, secure it, then go back up, and it doesn't matter what it is, it is. If it happens, great, you get an extra 3 marks. If it doesn't happen, you're indifferent. It's not like I was trying to work on I ran out of time, so then I couldn't do double I, and I lost those marks as well. Don't do that. Okay, I need a copy. Anything else? Let's go back up and just revisit and see if it all makes sense one more time. Two sailors are paid. All right, let's try to do this. Two sailors are paid to bring something back to Sydney from Gideon's Island, a distance of 1,200. They're each paid 25 per hour at the time spent at sea. The launch uses a fuel at a rate of this many litres per hour. Diesel costs $1.25 per litre, so I know straight away I'm going to times this by $1.25. That gives me the cost per hour. And velocity is V. Now, I know that once I see velocity and distance, this is your second time now, and if it's in your exam the third time or fourth time, you know velocity, distance, time are always related. So you straight away now would do this. This is your speed, this is your distance, this is your time. Speed, distance. Distance is 1,200. Speed is V. That gives you your time that this trip is going to take. You know that the guys get paid, the cost for the sailors is $25 per hour times 2 of them, times, that's it, 25 times 2, $50 per hour. But how many hours are they working? Well, they're working 1,200 on V hours. So 50 times 1,200 on V. Does that make sense? This is in hours. This is per hour. So that's the total cost for the sailors. The total cost for the launch, that would be what we said, 25 plus V squared on 8 per hour now. It's no longer litres per hour. That's how much it costs per hour. So we get that? Because that's how many litres per hour it's using. That's how much it's costing per litre. So it will cost this much per hour of running it. And then again, same thing. You're going to multiply this bracket by 1,200 on V. See, upon second look, it seems okay now. Because you'll know. And then every single one of these is done the same way. So that's the good news. And then, yeah, just expand, it should give you that. So another max min. Ooh. I really want to do that. Max min or loan repayment? Pick. Someone say it. Max min. There it is. We might have time for both. We'll try. Depends on how you guys go with this one. Copy to clipboard, paste, copy, paste. Okay. And this is pretty much the hardest style of the geometry questions you can get asked. So we've done basic ones with the cone. This will be the hardest style geometry questions, and then you just saw the hardest style what's the other one? Speed, distance, time. So that's it. That's pretty much everything. That's the good news. Let's do it. A truncated cone, that just means a cone that's been cut off from the top kind of thing. A truncated cone is to be used as a part of a hopper for a grain harvester. So that just means like you put grain in, and it comes out of the bottom. It has a total height of h meters all the way from, well, no, h is from here to here. The actual cone, the truncated cone has h. The top of the top radius is to be t times greater. Whoa. The top radius is to be t times greater than the bottom radius, which is 2 meters. Right. T times greater, that means 2t. Thank God they gave that, although that would be a bit. So this is 2, this is t times greater, which means 2t. If it was 2 times greater, you would have said 2 times 2, which is 4. So that makes sense, 2t, 2. Any questions at this stage? And I think they were nice to give out this as well. All right. If x is the height of the removed section of the original cone, show using similar triangles that x equals h on t minus 1. Correct. Technically, your similar triangles is out of the syllabus. I've got to say technically because it can only be asked in this part of the syllabus. Everything else it won't be asked. So it's allowed just this. So the way it works is very easy though. So it's not like the way you think of similar triangles, it's just going to be this. It's just the ratio of one to the other. So this is 2t, this is 2, this is h, this is x. If you remember, it has to be triangles. So that h is not a triangle. What's the longest side of the triangle? And then of course, what are you going to say? Give me a something over something. Because that's what you do with similar triangles. Something over something, doing ratios. So x over h plus x, I accept that. Small over large must equal to small over large again. So what are you going to say? Small. That's it. That's similar triangles. You're done. Small side of your triangle over your large side of your triangle must equal to your small side of your triangle over your large side of your triangle. Make sense? It's got to be in the same ratio. Your small side to your large side of one triangle must be the same as your small to another large side. And then it's just a matter of making x a subject. Here we go. So 2 and 2 cancels out. Multiply, cross multiply maybe. xt equals h plus x. Bring your x's to one side. What would you do at this stage? L. If I've got xt, take away x equals h, and I want to solve for x. Same as before. T minus 1 equals h, divide by t minus 1. So you can tell, again, the algebra to it is not hard. It's just knowing that similar triangles right at the beginning. Double line. Show the volume of the truncated cone is given by this. How are we going to find the volume? Okay. All right. Yep, that's the only way. Volume equals, what's the volume of a cone? We just did it. 1. One third pi r squared. We're going to do h of the bigger one minus the smaller one. Right? That will be the logic. So h, let's call it v big, and then minus v small. Now that you know the formula, oops. Now that we know the formula, let's go ahead and do it. So I'm going to get rid of that so you don't confuse that with the h of it right up there. All right, v big. So volume equals volume of the whole thing. V big. Big is 1/3 pi. What's your radius in this case? 2t squared times, what's your height of the larger one? H plus x. Minus volume of your smaller one. 1/3 pi r. Am I doing anything that you guys feel like you can't do? Again, I'm okay with you losing your 2 marks here. Right? For some reason you couldn't do similar triangles, it's fine. You could have got 5 out of 7. I think all of us will not be disappointed with a 5 out of 7 for this. You've got to be able to know that. Done. I'm going to continue. What was this? What letter is this? X? I guess so. Looks weird. X. 1/3 pi r squared. Yeah, smaller one. Times height of x. Okay. All right. You can see that in this question, it has a h, and it's got t's, it doesn't have x's, so obviously my x's are meant to change for h on t minus 1. So equals, do it slowly, 1/3 pi 4t squared, let's leave this h plus x for now, minus, this is 4/3 pi x. Just double check that, make sure you agree. Any questions? Steph? No? L? You sure? Next line should be, again, I'll probably expand these ones just so I don't get anything wrong. 4/3 pi t squared, and then that would be multiplied by h plus 4/3 pi t squared multiplied by x. All still okay with that? So that becomes 4/3 pi t squared times by h times by x minus 4/3 pi x. Ugh, this is. I'm going to replace x, but you guys said they're one of the hardest ones. X is h on t minus 1. So now we're going to replace our x's for h on t minus 1. Next line. Wait, pause. I would not technically do that. What I would want you to do is this. Have a look at what you're trying to show now. You can see there's a 4/3, you can see there's a pi. Can you guys see I've got a 4/3 pi everywhere? Why don't you just make your life a little bit easier and start factorizing that out? It doesn't matter, just so you know, but why wouldn't you do that? So 4/3 pi. Then I'm left with t squared h plus t squared x, where I know x is h on t minus 1, minus x, again x I know is h on t minus 1. Still with me? Erin, you keeping up as well? All good? Okay. At this stage, I can see again, I'll go back to the top. Look what I needed. And then look. So I'm going to take out a h. Right? It tells you what to do. 4 on 3, pi h. Then what do you think I'm going to do with this common denominator? What do you think I'm going to do with these denominators? I'm obviously going to make a common denominator, right? Because you can see you clearly don't have it up here. So it's going to be a common denominator of t minus 1. And then this t squared is going to be multiplied by t minus 1 plus t squared minus 1. Something's not looking right. But anyways, trust yourself. Next line. 4 on 3. Pi h. T to the power of 3 minus t squared plus t squared minus 1. Oh. Yeah. That's why. Alright, all good. Everything's fine except this last line. It's right. But you guys don't know how to factorize cubics like that. That's out of your syllabus now. But you can still get a very similar question, so don't think it's not just this bit here, what happened. You can't do it. So we'll just modify it so that we can finish it off. This will become a t squared. Cool? But it would have worked out. So then equals 4 on 3 pi h t minus 1 t plus 1 on t minus 1. These will cancel out and then you're technically done. 4 on 3 pi h t plus 1. It would have been the same result if it was a cubic, except for a cubic you would have had a plus t squared, as you can see there. Exactly t plus 1, but the plus t squared. But that's okay. No drama. It's more the algebra that was required. How many marks? Only probably 2. Yeah. But it's not the same 2 marks anymore. Because when you get into like the last question of I think your one, obviously you guys got multiple choice. So your first 10 are multiple choice, and then question 16 I think is your last one. Or not even, maybe question 20. Oh no, they've changed it now with this as well. Because each one's a one part now. Whatever your last ones will be, your last few, your 2 marks are not worth the same as your 2 marks that are in question like 11, 12, 13 or whatever. Your 2 marks at the end are like 5 marks. Your 1 markers are like 3 marks. So don't think when he gets at the end and it's worth 1 mark that he might take you 1 mark worth of working out. Because that 1 mark is a difference of a 99 to 100, not the difference of 50 to 51. Does that make sense? So those 50 to 51s are like right at the beginning. So just, yeah, that's why this one took a while with the algebra. The same 2 marks that you could have just drawn a sine x curve. That's also worth 2 marks. So, okay, and then if the upper radius plus the lower radius plus the height of this total must be 12, calculate the maximum volume of the hopper. Okay. So pretty much, you know that you can't ever differentiate something that has 3 missing letters, V, H, and T. You can't. That's why they gave you that extra bit of information that you need. If the upper radius, which means 2T, plus the lower radius, which is 2, plus the height, which is of the truncator, which is H, just the truncated cone, is equal to 12. Find the volume. Obviously from there, it's up to you which one you went and changed. Obviously it's easier to change H than it is to change T. So I would have gone and said H equals 12 minus 2T minus 2. Sub that into there. So let's go down and do that. Oh, sorry, we'll sub it into here. Triple I. V equals 4 on 3 pi T plus 1 and then whatever h was. H is 12 minus 2t minus 2. 12 minus 2t minus 2. And then I think you guys know how simple this is now. 4 on 3 pi. You could do product rule if you really wanted to, but why? Just expand it, it's probably easier. But some, oh, yeah, let's do product rule. Okay, let's have some fun with it. It's nothing. U, V. dV on dt. Differentiate this first bracket. Derivative of t plus 1 is just going to be 4 on 3 pi. Do we agree with that? That's u dash, can we see that? Times v. Plus v dash, the derivative of this, which is negative 2, times the first whole thing. All right, and then expand. Yes? Oh, I know, right? I'm an idiot. 12 take away 2 is 10. Yes. Of course, you should simplify. So thank you. That becomes 10. 40 pi on 3 minus 8 pi t on 3. Got to do that right. Looks good to me. You guys can tell me otherwise. Minus 8 pi t on 3 again, with minus 8 pi on 3 equals to 0. Yeah, because you're still trying to solve for 0, right? All right, 40 take away 8 is 32 pi on 3. Usually we bring our t's to the other side, so I'm going to do that. Minus 8 is minus 16, so you bring it to the other side, you get 16 pi t on 3. And I'm sure we can all see the answer from there. Get rid of the 3, get rid of the 3, get rid of the pi, get rid of the pi. T would equal to 2. And then do your second derivative. Second derivative. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do it. Let's not waste any more time on it. Because I'm sure we can get what to do from there. Okay. Go back and try it. If you need more work on it, you can. I'll give you some more. But I want to do one. I want to do one more. You guys okay to stay back a little bit longer? One more. Where was that one? This one. Let's do one last one. All right. Let's go. Ola is in a superannuation fund to which he contributes $250 at the beginning of each month for 30 years. The fund pays 6.6% per annum compounded monthly. If the fund matures at the end of the last month of 30 fund total value. Okay, it seems okay. Paula, I thought it was going to be harder. Paula is in a superannuation fund to which he contributes $250 at the beginning of each month. So A1 equals 250, 1 plus, can you do 6.6% divided by 12? Give it to me, give me plus 1. Plus 1, plus 1. On the dot, 1.55? 1.55? 6.6% divided by 12, so yeah, there should be 1.055. 0, 0. 5, 5. Done. Okay. The fund pays if the fund matures at the end of the last month of the 30th year. Yep. Okay. So we agree that's A1. A2. What happens? She gets A1 plus, she puts another 250. That again grows. And then A3. She gets A2, grows. Any questions at this stage? A2 would have been A1 times this plus 250. So 250, 1.0055 squared plus 250, 1.0055. So that means our straight away A3 is going to be 250, 1.0055 cubed plus 250, 1.0055 squared plus 250, 1.0055. Which makes sense. At the end of the third month, your first one grew for 3 months, your second one grew for 2 months, your last one grew for 1 month. Yes? And then I think we're pretty much done with that. Always make it increasing, not decreasing. 30th year, 30 times 12, 360 equals 250, 1.0055 plus dot 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 250, 1.0055 to the power of 360. What do you want to factorize? It's up to you guys. Just the 250 or the bracket as well? Bracket as well? That's what I would do. But it's up to you. So 250, 1.0055, open bracket, 1 plus r. Plus 1 less. Why is it 1 less? Because you just took 1 out, right? A r n minus 1 over r minus 1. I'm sure we can, we'll move the answer. Three marks. That was the last question of that year. How much do you think it is? Take a guess while it does it. 250 each month for 30 years. What do you think that would amount to? Tell me, give me a number. It'll be interesting to see what you think. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, just from the top of your head. 50, 100, 200? 2,000 a year for 30 years, you definitely know it's going to be above 60k. How far above do you reckon? Give me a number you think. It's just interesting to see if you understand like the whole point of the compound, which is good. You've done it, you found the answer already? So what do you reckon? Give me a number, let's see. 70, you reckon only 10k of interest? How much?
300.
Amazing, so you get it? 300k. So you only put in about 60k and 70k, whatever it's going to be. 300,000. Don't underestimate the power of compounding. It's very, very powerful. Unfortunately, you don't get to see it straight away, which is what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, but we want to make money right now. But in 30 years' time, imagine you yourself, you're 18 years old, plus 30, 48. I mean, it's okay for only putting 60k away for your life. But you're able to, at that time, make 350,000. It's not bad. And 250 a month, $50 a week or so, $60 to $70 a week, whatever. You can definitely do it. So don't underestimate it. A lot of people think it's so short term, they forget the power of compounding. It will add up. 300 and?
3118.
3118. 3. $311,883. Thank you. All right, and then after receiving the payout from the fund, Paula sells her Audi for $30K and invests the total of the two assets in an account that earns interest at 6.6%. How much will the investment be worth after further 10 years? That just means you start again. But now your A1 looks like this. A1 would be 311,883. Let's just do that. 884 plus $30,000 on top. That's the amount that she'll have. Hold on, but she's not putting that in every month. That's a one-off, correct? And it's just going to be compounded monthly for 10 years. So that's just your compound interest for 10 years. So ready? 1.0055 to the power of 120 months. Does that make sense? She's not putting in 250 again. She's just like, sweet, I made 300,000, I'm selling my car, so I made an extra 30K, I'll leave that in the bank and leave that for 10 years, let's see what happens. Does that make sense? What does that add up to? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. What's the answer? Again, just to be, what do you reckon, Elle? Give us another guess. She's like, oh, 1B. I know. What do you reckon? So now you have 340K. Another 10 years. Compounded 6%. So 300,000 times 6% is about 18K already. So you're making 18K a year. 18K? No. Yeah, it is 18K. Yeah, 18K a year. So you know it's definitely going to go up by a minimum of 180,000. Minimum. So, no, it has to be more. Should be like, I think, from the top of my head, I'm going to go with 750,000. What is it? Only, I was thinking 750. 660. Not bad. Only 10 more years and you've doubled your money. So there you go. The beginning is really hard. It's compound interest. You won't see the savings at the beginning, but at the end you will, obviously. All right, you guys. If you've got further questions, stay back. Otherwise, that wraps it up for today. I forgot, I still got another class after this. I fell late for messaging me. Next week. What is it?
It's 0%.